is probably going to end up moving to the northeast. So what's going to end up happening is this is going to move to the northeast, and it looks like it's probably going to just barely avoid Owens Crossroads. Let me go ahead and pull this up and see if I can't get a storm track on this for you. Now, Morgan County is not going to be included within this tornado warning very long. Looks like this activity is probably going to move out of Morgan County here over the next couple of minutes, but this activity is moving to the northeast only at 15 miles per hour. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a track on this, and we're going to drag this out. So again, this activity is only moving at about 15 miles per hour. So Farley within the next 11 minutes, heading into Bailey Cove Estates within the next 27 minutes. Now that's going to assume that this is going to hold itself together. What we may end up getting is something like what we saw the last time. My wife is calling me. I'm obviously not going to answer. I'm going to send her to voicemail and see if she can... Yeah, I will get to my wife here in just a couple of minutes. This activity is sitting just to the south of Owens Crossroads. So if you're in Owens Crossroads, you are included in the tornado warning, but it looks like this area is not yet crossed over Highway 231. So still going to be a little bit of time before it moves into Owens Crossroads. Again, if you're in Farley, you're going to want to be in your tornado safe place. This activity just beginning to cross into Madison County. Here's Madison County, and then here's Morgan County. It looks like we're going to be focused on this area here. This area that's just beginning to cross into Madison County right now. Again, if you're in Farley, you're going to want to be in your tornado safe place because this storm is going to be moving up into your neck of the woods probably within the next 5 to 7 minutes. Again, this storm moving to the northeast at about 15 miles per hour. So this is a slow moving storm. And just like the last time, I have a really difficult time calling this a storm because there's not a lot of lightning. There is no lightning within this thunderstorm. And that's a little bit of good news because lightning is a sign of strength. And when you're talking about a lack of lightning, you're talking about a lack of strength. And just like the last time, I don't believe this storm has a history of producing any sort of hail. No, it definitely does not. So no hail and no lightning associated with this storm. But if you're in Farley, you're going to want to be in your tornado safe place because our area of interest is beginning to move over your neck of the woods and is eventually going to cross Highway 231. So the National Weather Service is just asking if we have any damage or have any visuals. And thus far, I don't believe we see anything just yet. So going to continue to watch this. Going to continue to pay attention to this as it gets ready to cross Highway 231. Again, here's Farley. Farley is going to really be who we're talking about for the next couple of minutes because it kind of looks like that is who is at the greatest risk for the time being. Again, Highway 231, if you look a little further to the east, we'd be talking about Highway 431. But this activity for the time being is well a ways away from Owens Crossroads. So going to continue to watch this, going to continue to pay attention to this and see what happens with it over the next couple of minutes. So again, if we look locations a little further to the east, Owens Crossroads, you're definitely going to be within this tornado warning, so I'm sure you heard the sirens there. Farley definitely heard the sirens. Burroughs, Norton, Hobbs Island, all those folks definitely heard the tornado sirens, but it looks like this activity is going to be to the north of Burroughs, Norton, Hobbs Island. At this point, we're sitting to the north of Lacey Spring. The Lacey Spring definitely included within the tornado warning. So main area of concern for the next couple of minutes, definitely going to be the Farley community, where they're definitely talking about some pockets of heavier rain. But again, not really talking about any lightning. And so that's going to be a little bit of good news where we're not talking about any lightning. These storms also do not have a history of producing any hail. So something I want to continue to watch and pay attention to over the next few minutes. Just because these storms are rotating. Now, we were talking about this last night, right? And we were talking about this a little while ago where these are rain showers that are rotating. And we saw a lot of this across the area last night, across northwest Alabama, where it looked like a lot of these storms were actually beginning to rotate, and they weren't even necessarily thunderstorms. We were looking at rain showers that were rotating, and that's what we had last night, and it looks like that's a lot of what we're getting tonight. So as far as any sort of tornado debris signature is concerned, not really picking up on that anymore as far as our correlation coefficient. I can put a lapse on this. I think this is going to go back all the way an hour, but you can kind of see that tornado debris signature there within the last couple of slides that moves up through Lacey Springs and then kind of dies away real quick. So it looks like the National Weather Service is going to go away from the confirmed tornado, again, kind of indicating that they haven't seen the tornado debris signature, no reports of any sort of power flashes, no reports of any damage. So the National Weather Service here in Huntsville going to go away from the confirmed tornado and simply go back to radar indicated. So at this point, what we're talking about is a radar indicated tornado. If you have any damage reports that you'd like to give, you can always text those to me, 256-382-2692. Again, that is if you have any damage reports or photos or videos or anything that you'd like to share. But for the time being, the National Weather Service office has not received any sort of new information. So they're taking away the confirmed tornado tag, and we're just going back to kind of your standard tornado warning. So going to continue to watch this and pay attention to it. Once again, tornado warning in effect for Madison and Morgan counties. Looks like that's going to run until 9 o'clock. So right up until FOX54 News at 9 starts. That's how long we're going to run this tornado warning. So still about another half hour yet on this tornado warning. And again, no longer going with the tornado confirmed tag. Instead, it looks like we're going with the just a radar indicated, kind of your standard tornado warning, as it were. So it still looks like our area of interest is sitting right around the Farley area. And again, this storm's really not moving all that fast. These storms are only moving at about 15 miles per hour. So this particular storm is moving somewhat slowly. Let's go back over to the radar. Kind of want to zoom things out, look at the entire Tennessee Valley as a whole just for a quick second. We're dry across northwest Alabama, but once you get east of the I-65 corridor, we're talking about some change. We're actually dry across 565. Now, northern Madison County, we're talking about a little bit of rain. Not much in the way of any sort of thunderstorm activity. Again, there's not really a whole lot of lightning or thunder associated with these storms. There's no hail associated with these storms. So what we're ending up getting tonight is a lot of what we saw last night, where you were kind of getting these little storms last night. They weren't even necessarily storms. They were more rain showers because there was no lightning. And they were beginning to rotate. Now, last night we didn't have any tornado warnings associated with this activity. But we do tonight. Now, I did see some pictures on Facebook. I've seen a couple of different people post some pictures from Redstone Arsenal a little while ago. No further information on that, but it does look like, at the very least, a really strong gust of wind might have moved through Redstone Arsenal, or at least a part of Redstone Arsenal. Obviously, Redstone Arsenal is a really big facility. Now, I was talking to my wife shortly after the first tornado warning, and that tornado warning was pretty close to where I live. The main part of that storm was pretty close to where I live. And my wife said there was never really any rain, there was no wind, there was no lightning, there was no thunder. She said really, aside from the sirens, there were really no indicators that there was anything tornadic. She said that the clouds kind of looked cool, but as far as what I have taught my wife, she said that there was really nothing that looked overly threatening. And so that kind of goes to show you what we're going to be talking about this evening, where you kind of get these random storms that are going to pop up and develop. And again, they're not even necessarily thunderstorms, because in order for thunderstorms to be a thunderstorm, you would need some thunder. And I don't really think that we're really seeing a lot of that at this point in the evening. So We're going to continue to watch these though, and continue to pay attention to them here over the next couple of minutes. Obviously, we're going to be with you at least for the next half hour because this tornado warning does not expire until 9 o'clock. So let's zoom in here. Just kind of want to have a look. Let's go back over to our velocity image. And it still looks like, so if you're in Fox Run, you're going to want to be in your tornado safe place, South Park Estates, English Village. Again, it still looks like we're going to be mostly focused on this Farley area. So I can kind of zoom in here and you can see Green Cove Road Southwest. That road's going to run all the way through Farley back into Sandhurst Park, Farley, and then this activity is gradually tracking to the northeast, and it's going to continue to do so for the next several minutes. So let's zoom things out. I want to flip it back over to our radar image, and I want to look at the entire Tennessee Valley as a whole. So once again, it looks like the main focus of our activity is just going to be back across northeast Alabama. So once again, tornado warning in effect for Madison County. That's going to run until 9 o'clock. Now, this does seem to clip the Huntsville Metro. This does seem to clip Owens Crossroads, but this storm's still a little ways away from Owens Crossroads. And again, if you're in the Huntsville Metro, this storm's sitting to the south of the Huntsville Metro. So really, this tornado warning involves Bel Air Estates, but I don't really think any of us in the Huntsville Metro are going to be talking about any sort of a threat. Doug Hill, once again, Big Cove, once again, talking about a tornado warning. Hayden, once again, Berkeley, Adair Ford, Bellevue Heights, all folks that were just talking about the previous tornado warning, once again, talking about yet another tornado warning. And this one's going to run until 9 o'clock. Flipping it over to our wind shear. Not really a whole lot of wind shear associated with this storm. And again, it does look like we are talking about a little bit of broad rotation, but no confirmed reports of anything on the ground. As a matter of fact, I'm just reading a report from the folks down in Morgan County, and they haven't received any reports at all. So no reports of a tornado or anything in Morgan County. Now, I do see a brand new tornado warning that was just issued, but this is out of our viewing area, so we're not really going to spend a whole lot of time on this one. But it looks like the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning up in, yeah, they have gone ahead and issued a tornado warning all the way up in Franklin County, up in southern Middle Tennessee. So this is pretty far north of the viewing area. So once we get out of Winchester, up towards Estill Springs, Tullahoma, that's what we're talking about. We'll spend just a couple of minutes looking at this one. Really not a whole lot of rotation there. The rotation's really not all that great. And then if we go back over to our shear, I do see a little bit of an uptick in the wind shear there, just to the north of Estill Springs, but otherwise, as far as any sort of rotation is concerned, not really picking up on anything. So we'll zoom things back out, and we can go back to our other tornado warning, this one across North Alabama, and it is going to run until 9 o'clock. I would imagine Morgan County is probably going to be dropped from this tornado warning sooner rather than later, just because we're on the very edge of Morgan County, and as a matter of fact, this activity beginning to move out of Morgan County. And as a matter of fact, it looks like this activity is out of Morgan County. So here's Madison County, here's Morgan County, Highway 231. Looks like we're talking about a storm that is beginning to slide just to the north of Owens Crossroads, heading into Fox Run. If you're in Fox Run, Camelot, Bellevue Heights, you're going to want to be in your tornado safe place. We're now moving to the northeast of Farley. We're off to the north of Burroughs. Again, this area of rotation has crossed Highway 231, excuse me, has crossed Highway 231, going to begin to move over Highway 431, probably in the next 15 to 20 or 25 minutes. So we're going to continue to watch this area of rotation, definitely on the broader end of the spectrum. Let me go ahead and circle what we're looking at as far as rotation is concerned. Right over Camelot, just to the northeast of Farley. And then here's Highway 431. Pardon my tracing. There's Highway 431 heading down into Owens Crossroads. So it looks like this area of rotation is probably going to slide just to the north of Owens Crossroads. If you're in Owens Crossroads, I maybe want you to begin to think about getting into your tornado safe place, just because it looks like this storm is going to slide barely to the north of your area. But at the same time, understand that this storm is barely going to slide just to the north of your area. So something we're going to continue to watch and pay attention to here over the next several minutes. Watch as this storm continues to develop and push its way through southern Madison County at this point. So we're looking at a storm that's pushing its way through southern Madison County at this point. Now, this is radar indicated. Earlier, just a couple of minutes ago, we were talking about a storm that potentially had a tornado on the ground, but the National Weather Service has since canceled the tornado warning. And I believe I'm looking now at a report that says the National Weather Service has gone ahead and dropped Morgan County. So Morgan County no longer included in the tornado warning. We're going to maintain Madison County. So Madison County is going to remain under the tornado warning until 9 o'clock this evening. Morgan County has been dropped. So giving it one or two can cancel and replace. So it looks like the National Weather Service is hinting at the idea of maybe dropping the tornado warning. It looks like the rotation here within the last couple of radar scans has really fallen apart. And so I think that's a little bit of good news. Again, no confirmed reports of anything on the ground. Haven't seen any damage reports coming in from this yet. Definitely didn't get any out of Morgan County. The representatives down in Morgan County said that they didn't get any sort of calls into their centers regarding any sort of activity. So that's a little bit of good news. And have not seen any reports yet out of Madison County. If I'm watching anything, it kind of looks like we're going to be watching this area here for a little bit of rotation. I'm going to go ahead and circle this and see what this lines up with. I'll throw on the wind shear map. And I don't really see a whole lot of wind shear there associated with this at all. So going to continue to pay attention to this. Going to continue to watch this over the next couple of minutes, kind of see how this continues to act as we continue to push our way through southern Madison County. So if you're in Owens Crossroads, maybe consider getting into your tornado safe place, but at the same time, it is worth noting that this storm has weakened significantly. And we're also beginning to talk about an area that has seen a fair amount of rain over the last couple of minutes or over the last hour or so. So we're also beginning to talk about an area that is getting overworked from previous rain. So let's flip it over to our wind shear. Not really a whole lot of wind shear there. But I do notice this area here where we could be talking about some tighter rotation. And again, we're kind of in between Highway 231 and Highway 431. Here's 431 heading down into Owens Crossroads, and then here's 231 heading down into Farley. We're kind of in this middle ground here between 231 and 431. So tornado warning still in place, tornado warning in effect for Madison County, and it looks like that tornado warning is going to run until 9 o'clock. And I say that, and it now looks like the National Weather Service has gone ahead and canceled that tornado warning. So it looks like that tornado warning has been allowed to expire. And they're not even going to go with a severe thunderstorm warning. They're just going to go with a brief statement that says this storm is a stronger thunderstorm. So we're just going to continue to watch this. Again, the National Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning. Going to go ahead and cancel the tornado warning for Madison County and just kind of go with the understanding at this point that we're talking about a stronger thunderstorm. So just kind of continuing to watch and see if we get any damage reports. But I don't see any damage reports. I don't see any power outages coming in. Again, I was talking to my wife who lives really close to the location of the storm with the last tornado warning we had. Well, I live there too. And she said it never got windy. There was never any sort of lightning or anything. The clouds looked cool. But she never really felt like there was any sort of a great concern. Now, I say that, and then I will tell you that I believe right around 7 o'clock, so before we ever even would have been on the air with the first tornado warning, it was maybe reported that a little bit of damage came out of Redstone Arsenal. Now, what that is, not 100% sure yet, and then where on Redstone Arsenal, again, also not 100% sure. These are just some photos that I've seen on Facebook a couple of different times over the last several minutes. So just a couple of notes for you as we progress. So I'm going to stick with you at least until 9 o'clock because then FOX54 News at 9 begins. And then, of course, I will send things straight away over to Kenesha Dees. So we're going to continue to watch those storms. I also want to go ahead and mention, and again, this is really out of our viewing area, we have a tornado warning in effect for Franklin County. That is also going to run until 9 o'clock p.m. So tornado warning still in effect for Franklin County. The tornado warning that was in effect for Madison County has been allowed to expire. So we'll zoom in actually. Let's just zoom back in on this and let's just look at this for the next couple of seconds. I want to zoom in on this and see if we can find any areas of potential rotation. Definitely don't see anything there. Definitely some broad rotation here. This is a really small tornado warning, kind of in between Tullahoma and Center Grove, kind of sitting just to the north of Still Springs. It does look like they have issued a severe thunderstorm warning, kind of an all-encompassing severe thunderstorm warning. I have noticed a little bit of wind shear. The wind shear has been the best with this storm in particular. And again, I have a really difficult time calling these thunderstorms because there's no lightning within these storms. These storms don't have a history of producing any hail. Now, I haven't checked this one, granted. And then actually, it does look like this storm, for a very brief second back over Lynchburg, might have produced a little bit of hail. But as far as any other hail is concerned, that's not really a thing we've seen. Looked like another little second of hail there sitting over Fayetteville. But otherwise, these storms really haven't been big hail producers. These storms haven't really been lightning producers. Which is a little bit of good news. And again, we saw this last night, and we were talking about this, and I made a post about it on my Facebook. So if you're really interested, you can go back to my Facebook and look. But I was talking about this last night. Last night, these storms were sitting over northwest Alabama, and they weren't even necessarily thunderstorms last night. What we ended up having were these individualized rain showers. But those rain showers in of themselves were rotating, which was really kind of interesting. Now, again, we didn't have any tornado warnings issued across the Tennessee Valley last night, but these individualized rain showers were actually, rotating. So let's go back here east of the I-65 corridor and let's just kind of go on a little bit of a tour of the radar because we are talking about a little bit of activity. So we are going to continue to watch and focus on this for just the next couple of minutes and see how these storms develop. It's about 8:45. So what I think I want to do is just simply stick with you here for the next couple of minutes. We'll ride this maybe until, I Actually, I think we might just stick with you for about the next 3 minutes or so. And we'll continue to watch this. So showers and thunderstorms continuing to push their way through North Alabama. This activity also moving through southern Middle Tennessee. We're going to continue to watch this, going to continue to pay attention to this. Fox 54 News at 9 is going to begin in about 15 minutes or so. So we'll obviously have more updates on this over the next 15 minutes. I highly doubt anything significant is going to change over the next 15 minutes. Really, across North Alabama, we have no tornado warnings in place. We do have the severe thunderstorm warning up in southern Middle Tennessee, and then we do have the tornado warning that is in place across Franklin County up in southern Middle Tennessee. But other than that, yes, I probably can if you really want me to. Otherwise, we're not really talking about any sort of major threat for severe weather. So the severe thunderstorm warning, again, for what looks like it's going to be Franklin, Lincoln, and Moore counties by the looks of it. Mostly Franklin County, and that's going to run until 9:15. And then the tornado warning in effect for Franklin County, that's also going to run until 9 o'clock. So, like I was telling you earlier, these are really interesting, and I've really never actually seen this in a lot in my career. So something new for me ended up happening last night, where what ended up happening last night is we had these kind of random showers develop across far northwest Alabama, Lauderdale, Cobb, and then down into Franklin County. And for the most part, they were unassuming showers. But what ended up happening is that this activity kind of began to rotate. Now, there was never any sort of a threat for anything tornadic because they were just individual showers. And that's essentially what we're getting this evening, because we can go ahead and look at this. And we can zoom in here and see that there's not really any lightning associated with these storms. Hollywood back into Scottsboro, we're not talking about any lightning. Heading into Skyline, Letcher, Woodville, Gurley, even back into Owens Crossroads, where we're talking about some heavier wind, or some heavier rain, excuse me. Back into Paint Rock, we're not talking about any lightning. Gurley, Owens Crossroads, Bellevue Heights, Bailey Cove Estates. It doesn't really look like we're talking about any sort of lightning. So what we're really just talking about at this point is a little bit of rain. So I'm going to finish up here, but then we'll come back to Fox 54 News at 9 o'clock. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead to send you back to programming for the next 10 minutes.